You see, we were created in a magnificent vibration, in an absolutely magnificent vibration. Born risk takers. Free. That conditioning takes place after birth. You can change it. It takes guts. It takes goals. Do you know something? You're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, my God, I want to change something. I always say, keep reminding yourself that you have tremendous reservoirs of potential within you, and therefore you are quite capable of doing anything you set your mind to. You really can. I don't care what the cynics tell you. Quit listening to some of your peers. Now, all you must do is figure out how you can do it, not whether you can or not. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You've got to create a sense of urgency. I'm going to do it right now.
Yep, you can see it, you can do it. The beautiful truth is you can do anything. We got to know there is a place. There is a specific frequency. And if you get on that frequency, you're going to attract what you need to you. This is what it's all about. Why have you been endowed with such awesome powers? If you'll make a committed decision, this I'm going to do. And you don't have to know how. You do not have to know how. The second you make the committed decision, you flip your brain onto the frequency that you have to be on to attract what you have to attract to manifest the thing that you want. If you can see it, you can do it. It's got to be something you want. Wants come from inside. Act like you're already there. Walk, talk, speak, live like you're already there. Don't set a small goal. Don't set something that doesn't really wind your step. Set it so big it jazzes you, it really gets you going. When something of a very high nature resonates with the very high side of you, you'll know it. You'll know it. You will feel it. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. The only prerequisite, do you want it? Not do you need it, not could you do it. The only prerequisite is, do you want it? Take the lid off your marvelous mind and dream. For goodness sake, give yourself the right to do that. Get your analytical mind out of the way. Put it in your pocket for a while. All you're doing is exploring, daydreaming. What did Lawrence say? All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind waken the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. This I did. I hope.
Here I am. Hello. Welcome back. So good to have you all here. So great. And give yourself a pat on the back for still being here. Today, I want you to remember two things. First of all, those two beautiful ladies that I told you about when we were in the Bahamas that walked down to the edge of the cold water, and it was cold, that's why I didn't get in, and held hands to take the plunge. And then what they said after, when I said that was so cute and so beautiful to watch you both walk into the water holding hands, and what Leslie said, she said, Polly, we know, hey, that fear is diminished when you do it with somebody else, when you've got somebody holding your hand. So yesterday, I asked you to do a live. Who did one? Right? I did, or me in the comments if you did a live yesterday. Now there was a few of you, and I am bravo. I remember how hard it was for me to even post a video. And I'll tell you something that happened my second actual live. So I posted a video the first time, I recorded it and posted it. Then I did a live one day, and then the second day I was in the middle of a live and I saw that I got a message on my phone. And it was from one of my good friends. And when I got off the live, I just hopped straight in my car and went to the workshop. And then when I got to the workshop and unpacked and went upstairs to my office, I thought, oh, that's right, I got that message. So I picked up my phone and it said, sorry, wasn't meant for you, was the message. So then I went back to the previous message and it was, OMFG, she's live again, and all these angry faces. Now this was a friend. I sent the message to her and I said, was that meant for me? Like, is that about me doing a live? And she's like, yes, I just don't agree, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I thought, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Now, all that means is that I'm on this level, she is on this level. There's no wrong or right there. It's just we were not magnetized to each other anymore. The connection had gone because one of us had moved and maybe one of us hadn't. Or that we were just on different frequencies. So if you did a live yesterday, oh, good job. Yes, I've watched all of the lives that were done up until about 11:30 today. What did you notice happened? Did you notice the talk up until you pushed the button? Did you notice the talk up until you decided? Sometimes there's chatter, like, don't do it, oh my God, she does da 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 da, and this and that, and whatever else came through. And then you said, no, I'm just going to do this. And you pushed the button and you went straight in. Did you notice that the moment you took action and you pressed that go live button, that all the fear just disappeared, like within moments? It didn't stay with you throughout the live. It was only there for a few moments. I remember the first time I was in a Chamber of Commerce and I was asked to be on the panel. So I was at the panel of this. It was the first time I'd actually ever spoken in public. Oh, that's the best way to do it. As soon as you come up with an idea or get told to do something by your coach, just go and do it. Don't let the thinking come in, because the thinking will stop you. And most of our thinking is in line with where we are and keeping us here. It's not the thinking of our goal. But I remember finishing that session and not being able to remember what actually I said. I had glimpses of it, but the chatter in my loud was just so loud. It was just like there was like extreme white noise in my mind. Yeah, of course you don't, Mickey. You're a celebrity. So you noticed all of those things diminish. But guess what? Everything you want is on the other side of fear. It's like that's the gate to it. And there's only discomfort for a few seconds, or maybe even a minute, but it doesn't last that long. But living in fear, that's another matter altogether. When we live in fear, it leads to the disintegration of our body. It plays havoc on our body. Procrastination is not a creative place to be in. When we live in fear, some of the things that we talk ourselves out of doing because of fear are the very things that we need to do. So, like Bob just said on that video, commitment is what getting your goal is going to take. And there's one question I always ask people when I'm on a call with them: are you committed or are you interested? Because there's a very big difference between what you do if you're committed compared to what if you're interested. Interested people do the actions that please them And mostly they stay in the comfort zone. Committed people do the actions that produce the results that they want. They're not comfortable actions. Pleasing actions keep you exactly where you are. The scary ones, they're the ones that are going to move you. Now, be honest with yourself. If my team and I weren't holding your hand this week, would you have done the actions that we've asked you to do so far? Post your goal, draw out the stick person, do a live. Would you have taken action? Just be honest with yourself. Successful people are people that make a habit of doing the things that others don't want to do. So I am up at 4 a.m. I have a little process that I go through to get ready for my day, because most of my day starts at 6 a.m. and I'm up at 4. In the last 7 years, I've had 7 sick days. 7 days where I couldn't do calls. One of them was the day that Bob died, so I don't class that as a sick day. So 6 sick days in 7 years, compared to somebody that used to have one practically every month. Now, a few years ago, so I'm just going to read this. I've been slack. I'm watching but not interacting. I've got an art. Okay. I just want to point something out there. Whenever there's a gap of knowing and doing, the excuse is your paradigm. So that's your gap. And we give excuses. Just want to point something out there. If I was coaching somebody that said, I just haven't had time to ask, it's just because you didn't make this a priority. And I'm not saying that I should be your priority, but you should. So a few years ago, I sat down and I asked myself the question. And it was a question that I was really scared to ask myself, because it did make me really look at who I was and who I had been. And the question was, what would my life look like if I hadn't changed? If I hadn't invested in myself and changed who I was, what would my life look like today? Because I was sold a lie. I was sold a lie about, if you have a successful business, you've done it. You've made it. Yeehaw. That was the biggest load of rubbish I'd ever heard. Why? I was still the same person. That's like saying, if you have the car, you're going to be happy for the rest of your life. It doesn't work that way. And, money, it's like alcohol. It just amplifies more of who you are. So if you were a bitch, like I was a bit of a bitch, it just made me a bigger one. So because I'd done 3 eulogies in a 6-month period, I was really having a look at my life before I did this, before I'd started. And these were some of the things that I was like, okay, what's my story going to be? And then I sat down, it was a couple of years ago now, and I just thought, okay, if I hadn't have done this, who would I be today? And I'll tell you one thing, I probably wouldn't be married anymore, or not happily anyway. There would be no legacy at the end. my kids would just be like, oh, if somebody mentioned my name, oh yeah, that's right, she was my mum. My kids were already beginning to be ashamed of me, and that would have just grown. So I wouldn't have the relationship with them that I have now. The one I really hated was asking permission. Asking permission to do things. Asking permission to spend money. Asking permission, can I do this? Asking my husband to babysit our children. But a lot of the reasons, the other things that I asked permission was before I did anything. Do you think I should do this? Should I buy this? Does this look good on me? All of those. And why? So I had somebody to blame if the shit hit the fan and if it didn't work. But also, when you do that, you can't take the win because it's not yours either. I would have kept feeling second rate because I didn't have an education past grade 10. I'd become a chef, but I didn't feel worthy of spending time or money on myself. I went away with my sisters for one of my sisters was her, like we were going down looking for wedding dresses and bridesmaids dresses, and my younger sister would sit in front of these big mirrors and like put her makeup on, and I can remember I couldn't even look in the mirror for that long. And I remember saying, because one of my other sisters was there, and I said, can you do that? She's like, no, she had a different mother to us, Paul. I'm like, yeah. I didn't have confidence in myself. I couldn't, like the person you see sitting here now is so vastly different to who I was 10 years ago. And I was sick of feeling like that. I was sick of not being able to, or being embarrassed, or thinking that it was wrong to want to be better, to want to look better, to want to feel better, to want to be better. And I was sick of thinking that I was doing something wrong. All these other people around me were winning awards and doing great and getting ahead, going on these great holidays, doing all these beautiful things and having great times with their husband. I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought I was doing something wrong because mine wasn't looking like that. It was quite far from it. And the biggest fear was that this was all it was going to be for me. That I just had to resign myself to this because nobody else around me was doing any different. There were people outside of my circle that I could see doing things, but not my immediate like friends and family. They were just working hard, hoping to get ahead. I really did think that you had to be born into like a richer family, or a family that had a certain mindset, and that you did need more of an education. So I didn't think it was for me. So when I did those eulogies and I really had to think about things, and I thought, okay, what is my story going to be? Change was the only option. And that's the moment I realized that. That's when things started to happen really quickly. I just knew that there was something in me, something more in me, and I just had to find the right person to help me bring that out. And then I got introduced to Bob Proctor, and it was like a thing like this. Went over a weekend though, and it went from 11 o'clock at night till 7 o'clock in the morning. And what it did was it made me understand myself. It was like everything that I had learned up until that point was worthless. It had a place, but it wasn't wasn't going to turn me into a new person. And that's what I wanted to be. I wanted desperately to be different. I wanted my life to be different. And I look back at her, the person that I was 10 years ago, I am no longer that person. And the reason that I know I'm not that person is not just because of me. It's because of the people that knew me before and what they say and the reactions that I get from people. My first 5 clients were people that I interacted with pretty often. And they'd ask me, Polly, what are you doing? There's something different about you and you're changing. What is going on? And I would just say, I've got a coach and I'm working on myself. And they're like, well, tell us how to do it. And I said, well, just wait and I'll be teaching it in a couple of months. I just have to learn it all first. Now, I signed up. I made a decision on that 3-day thing that I was up from 11 o'clock at night till 7 in the morning. I made a decision then. I'm going to be one of Bob Proctor's top coaches in the whole wide world. And I'm going to do it all from this little town of Catherine. And I don't know how. I have no idea how. But the one thing that I will always remember that Bob said to me, because I told him you had to tell him your goal. If you signed up with him, he wanted to talk to you and he wanted to know what your goal is. And I told him my goal. And he said, well, if you want to help other people change, Polly, the first person you need to change is yourself. I was like, oh, well, that's what I've been looking for. That's cool. So my first 2 months, I just worked on me. I hardly left the house. I sort of retreated into my house and worked out who I wanted me to be. We're going to go through a bit more of that on Saturday when we go through your self-image and who you, like, it's all about you in that lesson. Like how do I turn me into a new person, and so that I start to reach these heights? Because the person you are today, not that there's anything wrong with you or anything, but you as the person that you are today and your thinking and your actions and your belief system is not going to get you up there. You've got to make some changes. And I just want to remind you that Saturday morning we start at 9 o'clock and we'll be finishing around 11:30. That's our schedule for Saturday. So block out that time. 9, we're here in YouTube, and then from about 10, 10:15, we are in Zoom so that I can answer any more of your questions and help you with what we learned all week and what we learned on Saturday. Now, if I had had somebody, like if you had said, come to me 10 years ago and said, now Polly, in 10 years time, you're going to be telling this story, and this is the story that I'd tell, I'd be like, hey, are you kidding? There's something wrong with you. Now, Bob says, now be prepared. You are going to need a telescope to look back, because you're not going to recognize who you were when you do this work. And I was so keen. Now, a couple of little things that I've had people say to me was, first of all, my son turned 20 on the 13th of July, and we were at the club. Now, I want you to understand, 10 years ago, my kids were embarrassed about me a bit. They were ashamed because I would blow up at this, like the drop of a hat. I would argue with them. I probably belittled them so much. But we were at the club, and I gave him one of his birthday presents because, you know, he was out bush and then he came back that night. So we were at the club having dinner with the whole family, and I gave him his birthday present, and he stood up and gave me a kiss and a hug and said, thanks, Mum, in public. Now, for me, that was huge because 10 years ago, they didn't even want to be seen with me a lot of the time. So that for me was a huge piece of parenting for me, like the mother I wanted to be. Then the other one was I was working at the workshop last year at the end of the year, and somebody that used to be one of our tradies that we supplied to came back to town, and he came in and said hello. And he said, now, Polly, where is she? And I said, where's she? Who? He's like, where's the Polly that we used to get at this counter all those years ago? And I said, oh, mate, she's gone. She has well and truly left. And you guys, I had people write reviews about me that weren't pretty, that weren't nice, because of the way that I served them at that shop. So it is a really big, huge change. And tomorrow when we go through the money side of things, I'll go through like what, and tell you exactly what I've done to get to where I am. And one of the things that I really wanted was to like myself again. And if I could get to the place to love myself, that would be really cool. Because, you know, the reason I couldn't sit in front of that mirror and do that makeup and do that was that I was always berating myself, always telling myself that I didn't look good and that there was something wrong here and this was wrong. I would always pick out the bad. So I never wanted to sit there and look. I have this little thing that I really like to read, and it was one of the things that really made me realize how we change, because sometimes it can feel like we're not. And when I read this, it's just like, oh, that's right, that's the process. So here it is. Now, this is an autobiography in 5 chapters. Chapter 1, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am hopeless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. But it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see that it's there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street. And doesn't that just clearly point out the levels of consciousness too? Like, number 1 is unconsciously incompetent. You just don't know what you don't know. You fall in, you blame everybody around you, you don't take responsibility. Number 2, you can sort of see that it's there, but you still do it. And then when you get to number 4, walk down the same street, there's a hole there and you walk around it. You're starting to become more conscious. And then all of a sudden you're an unconscious competent and you just walk down a whole different street. That's what I help people do. And this is what I want to offer you today. I want to offer you something called a Thinking into Results Master. I don't want you just to be consciously competent. I want you to be unconsciously competent, so that you can think about something and you can have it. And the gap between thinking it and having it, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. That's what unconscious competence means to me. So it's a 12-month reprogramming and coaching. And the cost of that is $21,000. Yes, there are payment plans. And, most of my clients use a company called Lifestyle Finance, which I'm affiliated with. I'm not affiliated with because I don't get any money for it, but that I have teamed up with to help people through that. The reason I'm telling you these numbers is that I don't want you to get on a call with me and then feel like I'm just ambushing you with the price. I want you to know what it is before you decide. Now, I want you to think, as soon as I said that number, where did your mind go? Where did your thinking go? You're just like, fuck, I'm out of here and just ready to press the button and leave? Or, like, what was your thinking there? Maybe if you feel like you can, just put it in the chat. Because I want you to know this. I had this conversation with somebody a couple of months ago, and I gave him a price of something. It was like $1,000 for something. And he said, well, that's expensive. I said, oh, okay. What are you comparing it to? And he's like, what? And I said, well, you said it's expensive, so what are you comparing it to? And he says, well, I don't have any idea. And I said, well, do you think maybe that you've been programmed to say that's expensive with things over a certain amount? Yeah, probably, Polly. Yes, probably. Like, oh, okay, that's good to know. There is a law of relativity that you can compare things to. So if you compare something small with something big, then this feels small. If you compare something of a medium size against the smaller one, it feels really big. But if you compare the medium one against something that's really, really big, then it feels smaller, which is what we did on Monday night. Remember Mickey's goal? And I said, okay, let's use this law and let's compare it to this so that where you're going now doesn't feel so big, because when it feels really big, we sort of start to dismiss and we lack the belief. If it feels like, oh, that's achievable, yeah, then we start to entertain the idea more. So here's what you get. It isn't just me. You've seen that I've got a team that come in and help me. I've got Maggie behind the scenes that does all of the whatever I don't know how to do, because I don't need to know everything. Then I've got Sue and Shay, who are my limitless ladies when it comes to thinking into results, and they help me through. I also have Lisa as well, that is more not so prominent out there, but helps in chats and helps get everything ready there. So, and I have Valentina that helps me here in town. She helps me get all the packs of the mail and get everything sorted so that everything runs smoothly. This is my team. So you don't just get me, but what my team does is they help keep you on track. They go and they talk to you, and if you feel like, or if they feel like that you're like ready to like veer off the track, they come and bring you back in. Because the terror barrier is a real thing, but it is so much better when you face the fears and face terror when you've got people beside you, and not just people helping you, other people doing the same thing. My community that all my clients come into is called I Am Limitless. In there is a whole bunch of people all going after goals, going after what they want, just like you. But they have support, and they've got people that see them and that can help them through that moment so that they can walk through that terror barrier. Now, the only way you can get into that is by booking a call with me. I don't have a link that you can just go and buy, because I have one rule. And that rule is I only let people into my coaching business and into my coaching community that I would happily have at my home for a dinner. So it's a tight-knit community. And I'm not going to let anybody in there that upsets it. Not saying that you would, but I have had people in there before that don't do the work, that just turn up for the calls and are then being the bad seed, and I've sacked them. because I used to be like, I used to have it so they could just buy, and I would take anybody. I don't do that anymore. I'm very selective about who can come in. And I want you to know that it's only me that does the calls. Nobody else does them at the moment. It's just me. So you get to talk to me. And this is what we're going to do. We are going to talk about where you are, where you want to go. In that process, I'll help you identify what is holding you back, which is, some of you have already identified now, but there's probably going to be an underlying belief. You've probably identified the actions. There's going to be maybe some beliefs in there that's holding you back. And we're going to show you what's in your subconscious mind. Well, I'm going to show you what's in your subconscious mind that's holding you back, because it doesn't want you to see it. This is why most people can't see it themselves. They need somebody else to point it out. So you have a link in your portal. The ability to book a call comes down on Monday night. And like I said, there's only me doing the call, so there is limited availability on like being able to book it. So if you're serious and you're like, okay, I am done with where I'm at and I am ready, and I've been trying to do this for years on my own, and I know that on my own is probably harder than having a whole group of people. Can you imagine like 4 or 5 people with you holding hands and let's go through this together? Imagine if it's 30. It's a whole different game. So you can get to that link right now and you can book that call. And I would, because, you know, if you sit on something, like Mickey just said, I did it before I thought about it. I just like, yep, I'm serious. I'm moving on. I'm going to get this done before the talk gets me out of it. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about one of my Limitless ladies. I told you a bit about Shay and what she's just been going through, and then she came on and did a live yesterday. Now Sue has kindly done a live and put it up today. But this is my side of Sue's story. So Sue and I, we knew each other. We were in Little Athletics with our children together. And then Sue just disappeared. And then I had a Limitless lady working with me at the time. And I don't know, there was just something about Sue that my intuition was like, I think I need to work with this lady. I think I can help her. So I reached out to my Limitless lady and I said, hey, what do you think about Sue and me doing this together? And she's like, Polly, I think that would be the best thing. So I actually gifted Sue into one of my smaller programs, and I just said, Sue, how about you come and do this? I really think it'd help you. So I did that. And then it was probably like 4 months later, or maybe 3 months later, that we were doing Mind Shift in Cairns last year in May. And so it was probably only 3 weeks, because I only do like 4 weeks. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this in 4 weeks, everybody. So everybody has to be pretty quick. I don't have things out there for months and months. So Sue said, she rang me one day and she said, Polly, I really want to come. I really want to come to Cairns, but I'm afraid. And I was like, what are you afraid of? I'm afraid that I'm going to get there and I'm going to be stuck in that hotel room and I'm going to be sick the whole time and I won't even be able to attend and I would just waste all my money. Like, why the bloody hell would you want to think that, Sue? And because I had known what we'd already gone through in this other program, I said, that's not even part of you anymore. So let's just stop thinking. It's just like, you know, old paradigms come and try and keep you stuck where you're at. So she came to Mind Shift and we had, I don't know, 20 odd people in the room. And I was also running, so I had my team in Palm Cove. We had a place there, was sort of having a retreat at the same time we were running this. So we would go into Cairns, deliver the stuff, and then come back and we would have our own time. And at the same time, there was the bird flu outbreak. So does anybody remember last year that was hard to get eggs? So we've got 9 people in a house and you could only buy 1 dozen eggs per person. So I've got all the girls in the car and I've got my card and I said, all right, you go get a dozen eggs. So one would go and get a dozen eggs. Now you go get a dozen eggs. So we could feed ourselves for breakfast every morning before we went in. And we were just talking about it in like passing sort of thing, like just maybe having a laugh, like how do we overcome a problem? Like we find a solution, and this was one of the solutions. And Sue goes, oh, you should have just told me you wanted eggs. I've got plenty of them. I could have brought it up for you. If anybody wants eggs, just let me know. I can send them to you. And I'm thinking, yeah, I wonder how that'd go. I wonder how good they'd turn up in Catherine if you sent me a dozen eggs in the mail. And so that's where my head went. And then we were doing a bit of like a roundtable discussion and coming up with ideas. And Sue had always like butted against me when it came to money. Because I'm just like, just fuck the how. Don't worry about it. The money will come. She's like, oh, I'm so sick of hearing this. Polly, you don't understand. I'm on a pension. I'm this, all these excuses, right? And I just shut down like, okay. Now, Sue, do you want to stay there? She's like, what? She said, well, do you want those excuses to be your life? Or do you want change? She's like, well, of course I'm here. I want change. Okay, cool. And then it was like maybe only like 10 minutes later, an idea popped into my head and I was standing in the middle of this U shape and I said, Sue, why don't you sell your eggs? I said, I'm buying eggs at the moment for nearly $11 a dozen. You could be selling them. How many dozen do you make a week? And I couldn't remember the exact number. Anyway, she's like, what? I could, hey? And I said, yeah. Why don't you, in the break, reach out to somebody and start selling them? Well, she didn't wait for the break, and this is why Sue is so successful. She doesn't wait. And so, Mickey, I really think this is why you're so successful too. There's no waiting. It's just get in. And so she's sending messages while we're in this session. You're not supposed to have phones in it, but anyway, I let her go. When we go to break for lunch, she's like, I've already sold however many dozen eggs. And we're like, oh, and I've got a weekly supply, and I've got these companies, and I've got some other ideas now. And when I get home and go, like it had already started. So she set a goal to grow an income of $300 a month. Tiny goal. But for Sue, it felt big because I'm only on a pension. Yep. Within, I'm pretty sure it was like 8 or 10 weeks, we had another call and I said, why don't we like make this bigger? So we went to 1,200. Now Sue did that with so much ease. And I know what the number is now that we're working on. And it's pretty close. But Sue doesn't just sell eggs now. Sue hatches chickens. She buys chickens and sells chickens. She sexes chickens. She sells these boxes and all painted up and pretty and stuff. And she's a chicken rancher. That's what I call her anyway. One idea of selling eggs just grew. Why? Because we don't let the thinking stop us. We put our blinkers on and we go after. We make a decision. I'm going to make it. Nothing's going to stop me. And we go. And as soon as you hit a speed bump, guess what? There's support. Okay, I've hit a speed bump, and we'll have a mastermind and we'll go, okay, what ideas can we get through this? And we'll throw ideas around. And the one that feels the best, you'll go after. That's what community does. So I just wanted to really highlight, and I've watched Sue's live. I didn't know she had to borrow money. I didn't know. I thought she had the money. So I was really impressed. I was like, man, this lady's whinging about being on a pension, and I didn't know that she had to borrow it. So there's a bit of Sue's story. In a moment, and look, you guys, you can just reach out to... She's a chicken rancher. You can reach out to Sue and ask her questions. Because it did take Sue a little while to get to that place of fuck the how and don't worry about where the money's going to come from. It's just going to come from wherever it is right now. Don't try and force it in. Just allow it in. So if you have any questions, just go and ask Sue. And then I'm going to introduce you to Claudia. Claudia used to work with me she came and worked with us first in the steel business. You'll see her story. I hired Claudia because she had such a great energy about her. She didn't know much about the job that she had applied for. She didn't have much skill in it, probably none. But I knew she was more of a problem solver than somebody that would just sit there. She was just in to take an action, and she was fast. And I just want you to know, like, Claudia's results are because Claudia focused on her results and she just took action. She didn't sit around and wait. Every time we said something, she'd just do it. Every time there was an opportunity, she took it. So I'm going to show you this interview with Claudia, and I don't know, it just feels good. She's got a beautiful energy about her. So here's Miss Claudia.
So for those who don't know me, I'm Claudia Steele. I met Polly at the end of 2020. Before I met Polly, life for me was extremely, I would say crazy negative. I was a mother of two, a wife and a business owner, and I drank a lot. And I had a lot of negative thoughts that punished not only myself, but my whole entire family. So when we were living in Darwin, we were working at an export yard, and we drank a lot, like I said, and my thoughts were so intrusive that I wasn't sure that my husband, I don't know, I just thought my husband would maybe self-harm himself because we were just so negative. So there would be days where I would send the kids down to the shed to check on Lincoln, not so much check on him, but just go say good day to your dad and see what's going on down there, because I would be too worried to go down there myself. Fast track a little bit. I've moved to Catherine, and I've only ever really worked with cattle and horses and done my own bookwork, and my accountant would tell me that I did it pretty poorly. So when I went and applied for a job for Polly, I was upfront and I was very honest. I said, look, I don't have very much experience. I do my own bookwork and I haven't been audited yet, so maybe I'm doing okay. And sure enough, I got the job, which was really cool. And when I came to work in this office, Polly, no, it wasn't just Polly, there was two other ladies that were working in there, and they were just so positive that it was like, it was eating at me. I would cringe coming to work because these women were just so positive, and I'm just like, I can't deal with this. Like, they're just happy about the traffic. They're happy about whatever. And so what really was quite funny, actually, I came into work and I wasn't feeling very well. I'll tell you why I wasn't feeling very well very soon. And I said to these ladies, I said, I'm not feeling too good today. And they're like, if you just change the way you say that, you'll start feeling better. And I thought, yep, I'm working at a fucking mental institution. These people are crazy. Anyhow, it turns out that I was pregnant, so I was feeling ill. But anyhow, fast track a little bit. I'm living in a caravan at my friend's house. I've gone away for Christmas. And on my way back to Darwin, we fly into Darwin and then come back down to Catherine, COVID happened on the plane. Something happened on the plane and we went into lockdown, and I thought, shit, I'm going to lose my job for this. And they were just so happy for me. Polly said, how good's this? You've been away for a holiday and now you get to just sit in a room and just relax. And I'm like, these people and their happiness, what the hell? Anyhow, I've come back to work and I've been at work for 2 weeks. And Polly's launching a free training similar to this, only this is probably 10 times better because she's grown so much. And I signed up for it. And by day 3, I was in. I was like, yes, this is for me. So within the 3 days of doing the training with Polly, I was able to manifest some money to pay off my car, which I thought was super duper cool. And then I signed up to work with Polly and have Polly as a mentor and a coach. And also, like I told you, I was living in a friend's caravan. And when I moved to Catherine, they said, it's going to take 12 months for you to get into a house. And within the first week of doing this stuff with Polly, I had a few house inspections to go and look at. So that was really cool.
And a house in 6 weeks or something.
And a house in 6 weeks, yes. Yeah. That was after I signed up with you. So, yeah.
Tell me what you're sick and tired of before you, when you came into that training, yeah. What were you sick and tired of?
I was sick and tired of being not so much cranky. I've always been very happy, but always focusing on the negative side of things more so than what was good in the things that I was doing. I was a little bit of a grouch towards my children and my husband. I would make a deal out of him not wanting to go to the supermarket, like just little things like that, just that really had no precedent in my life at all, but I would make a deal out of it. And I was just so sick of that.
Cool. Okay. All right. So tell us what's changed and what have you achieved?
Okay. So what's changed for me, and funny as I didn't tell Lincoln that I was signing up to work with you and have you as my coach, and he'd been away for 3 months working. And we had a family holiday in Darwin at a caravan park. And I guess I wasn't reactive. I was just responding to the situations with the kids, and I was just a completely different person. And it wasn't until like Saturday morning, so he flew in on Thursday, Saturday morning, he said to me, "What are you doing? Like, why are you so different?" And then I was like, "Oh, I've got myself a mindset coach." And he's like, "I don't care, whatever it is that you're doing, just keep going with it." So I'm not a reactive mother anymore, or wife, or even business owner. Don't get me wrong, there is times where I have to go, righto, let's do a do-over. That's not the person I am anymore. But yeah, I don't excessively drink. I'm not negative about a situation. I feel that people come to me when they want a positive spin on things, not just a laugh anymore. So that was really cool. And what I've achieved, goodness, like when I first started, we paid off all our debt, credit card, paid out the car, and then we bought a grader, which was really cool, and expanded our business. We cracked within 3 months our first ever 50K month, which was really cool. And then we also got our house within the first 6 weeks of living in Katherine, and I actually started writing that I wanted a rural block, so I ticked that off within 6 weeks or whatnot. And then business was expanding, and we decided to move to Queensland to be closer to family. But yeah, so we moved to Queensland to be closer to family. And whilst we've been over here, Lincoln's business has expanded a lot. So I paid off my Kluger, and then the following year, I really loved Craig's car, which is Polly's husband, at the workshop. And one weekend we were out doing some things, and Craig let me drive his car. And I was like, yep, this is me. I could just see myself driving this big old family car. Anyhow, so I got my 200 series that I always wanted. So that was cool. And then we wanted to try something completely different, and we bought a butcher shop. So that was
hang on, really you came to retreat for that though, remember?
Oh yes, I did come to retreat for that. I did come to retreat with this idea of I was going to buy this butcher shop in town. I don't have the money for it. I don't have the knowledge for it, but I really want to do it. Like, it's just something so out of my comfort zone, something so random for Lincoln and I. And I did the retreat with Polly, and I went home, and I had this list of things that I wanted to discuss with my husband, and we bought the butcher shop by Christmas. Like, went to the retreat in September, and by December we had the butcher shop. So that was just crazy, out of this world. By the 14th of January, we'd refurbed it and opened it up. So that was really cool. Then somewhere in the lines, I ended up pregnant with our 4th child, which was like a little
little wild-fit baby.
My little wild-fit baby. And then Lincoln had stepped away from his business to run this butcher shop. And then he just kept getting phone call after phone call, and it started off as little jobs here and there, and then he just bought a little bit more gear, and then he had 1 or 2 followers, and then it just kept expanding. And then we put a tender in for this fencing gig in our local shire, which was around about $1 million. And oh my God, the nerves of the 2 months after we put that tender in, just waiting to hear back, because we had absolute faith that we were going to win it. But every time it came close to finding out of, we'll let you know the next council meeting, and we won it. So it was like our first ever massive big job. It was really, really cool. We achieved some really cool goals last year. Yeah. And I remember my first training that I did with Polly on my wants list was an arena. And that's what I ticked off my list last year. So even though I wrote it on my list 5 or 6 years ago, it's nearly 6 years, I ticked it off last year. So it's like, that was really cool, knowing that, it doesn't have to happen right now, but yeah, I'm still ticking things off on there. Lincoln's business expanded again, and I was left in the butcher shop, and I just felt like it wasn't my thing. I was doing it to, I guess, keep the shop open, to supply something to everyone else. Everyone else's needs were getting met, but not mine. And so I made I guess it was a little bit tough. we're taught not to worry about what other people think about us, but sometimes we just sort of get caught up in what other people may think about us, especially being in such a small town where you see every single person from the town nearly every single day. So when I made the decision to close the butcher shop at the start of the year and run my horse training business from home, at first it was a sickly feeling, but as soon as I closed the doors and emptied the shop out and got my first 3 clients' horses dropped off at home, I just knew that this is it. This is what I'm meant to be doing. So I'm part-time training horses, part-time stay-at-home mum, and yeah, I'm just living the dream now.
Yeah, cool. What would you say, like having all this knowledge now, what would you say to somebody that's been or in your position or to yourself back then?
That it's okay to have help. It's okay to express yourself and put it all on the line and have someone say, hey, have you tried doing things this way? It doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean that you're weak or anything like that. It's just having someone else's view on it that's not your negative view. I just ask for the help.
Yeah.
Having a coach changed my life. It saved my marriage, and I think it's made me a better mum. I really, truly do.
Yeah, I get that. Don't worry. I understand that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to add, Claude?
Having a coach, well, for me, was just a flow and effect. It created a better marriage. My parenting was better. I was a better friend, a better employee. I learned how to say no with no strings attached. Like, no is a complete answer. I can say no, and I don't have to explain myself. I don't have to feel bad for it either. And I learned to be a little bit selfish. And this is something I will work on forever, because I am a mother of such young children that we always tend to put everyone else's needs first. But it's okay to say, nope, not doing that this time. I'm actually going to go take 5 minutes for myself, or a weekend away, which I do that often with my husband. I'm like, right, are you good with the kids? I'm going away. I need to go and have some time to myself. And that's okay. Take the step. If it scares you, that means it's the right thing. I'm doing it all the time with the kids.
One thing, everybody, like in your portal today, there is a book a call link. And I remember when you and I had that chat and I said how much it costs, and you're like, holy fuck, how am I going to do that? Lincoln's going to kill me.
And that was that was November, so that was 2 months before even. Yeah. It was really cool.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't change anything. Like I was working for Polly as a Limitless Lady for quite some time. And I thought, when I took on this horse training business and wanting to step away or whatever, I thought, I want to see if I can do this by myself. But I tell you what, I'm always going back to the Life by Design page, or, my old workbooks and stuff like that, because the truth is we can't do this by ourselves. Yeah. We need someone.
And it was good. I saw you sign up for this training too.
I was like, I need some positive vibes.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, Claude.
You're so welcome. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you really enjoy this. And like Polly says, keep watching the replays. They're so good. You might think you've heard it all today, but you'll go back and like, oh, I didn't hear her say that.
Wrong one. Here we are. Here I am. How good is she, hey? And I just want to reinforce some of the things that Claudia said there. Having a coach changed my life. It changed mine too. And I can speak for a lot of people that having a coach really does change your life. Being able to reprogram who you are changes who you are. And you do it at a core level. It's not like I just put on a new dress and just go out and be this. You have a different belief system about yourself. And like I can say, as well as Claudia did, it saved my marriage, it saved her marriage as well. And both of us, it made us a better mum. And the truth is, we can't do this work by ourselves. We have to do it for ourselves, but we can't do it by ourselves, because we will not see the things that we need to change. And like I said, Claudia's results are because of what Claudia focused on and what she wanted. Your results will be what you focus on and what you want if you do the work. So the link to book a call with me is in the portal. And like I said, from Monday, you can't book a call with me. And I am only one person. and I'm the only one that does the call. So there is limited spots there. So it is sort of a first in, best dressed sort of thing there. And remember, everything comes down 8 p.m. Monday the 24th. So Monday coming up, everything is gone by 8 p.m. that night. So I want to give out the prizes. Oh, that's good, Sue. Oh, that's awesome. So the people that I want to give more prizes to, and I just want you to know, I like to pick different people each time, but don't make that stop you either. Like, get in there and get this done, because this is for you. I give these tasks because I know what it feels like to push through that fear. And once you do push through that, you're just like, oh my God, like climbing that tree for me was like the door opening that then I could jump out of an airplane. And then, like last year, we went back to Kununurra. We went to the grotto again, and I walked down it. So, like, once you face the fear on one thing, like a really big fear, then it's just like, oh, that wasn't so bad, and it gives you courage. So this is why I set these things for you, so that you have more and more courage to do different and better things. So these people that I've seen before we started today: Christine Matthews, well done. You did the live. You did do it. Do it in the wrong place first, and I was a bit worried that if I said, oh, you gotta do it again over here, but you did it. So well done. You faced it twice. Rebecca Jones, I watched yours this morning. Look, you got me teary too. So I know how hard life can be without the right tools and the right programming as well. Gloria Saka, I am so glad that you're still in this group, and it was so great to see you. You are not invisible anymore, and we don't want you to be invisible. You've got something in you that the whole world needs, so keep doing it. And then Joy Disney. Joy Disney was a client of mine a few years ago too. It's so great to see you again. Well done. So I will be adding these to the prizes. But remember, to get your prize, you have to email the address in the portal and email your address to us. We don't go chasing you, just email it into there. So tomorrow is money day. Now, I'm going to show you exactly what I spent on my thinking, and also some of the tools and resources that I use to change my thinking about money and to change my thinking about myself. Because if we understand that we think into results, we have to be clear on the results, which is what day one was all about. Get clear on the results you want, and then we have to learn to think into it. Money is something that we've been sold on that may not be true, and I'm going to give you the resources that I use to help me think differently about it, so that there is not the old program that I'm sure we were all programmed on. Money doesn't grow on trees, and you can't always get what you want, and blah 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 blah. If we can get rid of that, then it does make life a whole lot easier. And you know, I'm going to tell you about the first thing I did that absolutely terrified me, and I could not tell Craig. I was like Claudia. I couldn't tell Craig for a little while how much I'd spent and what I had done until a certain time. So I'm going to tell you all about that. So I'm sorry I did go over a little bit today. Enjoy your day. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't done your live yet, get in and get it done, and really understand fear. Without understanding, without knowledge, we can't understand what is holding us back. And then when we take the action, then we get the whole picture, and we're just like, wow, and we can put this whole thing together. And then you can go, actually, it is just an idea in my mind, because it's not even real just yet. And when my fear, if it does turn into something real, guess what? I'm going to then deal with it. I'm not going to run away. So a lot of our fears are made up. And that is not here to discount you or what you're going through, but they are made up in our mind to hold us here. Remember, we're breaking through the ceiling. We're not going to keep running around inside it. All right. I will see you all tomorrow at 12 o'clock, and let's talk money. Have a great evening, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.